I want to comment about the papers you turned in last week. Many of you wrote excellent, informative papers. Unfortunately, you were to write a paper that created an argument. Let me show you the difference between an informative thesis versus an argumentative thesis. First of all, Valium is a dangerous benzodiazepine with crushing withdrawal symptoms similar to heroin. This is a statement of fact. You can't argue it and make people believe that because this is fact. But if you add on to it, as I do in the second sentence, I believe Valium should be taken off the drug market to treat anxiety disorders, then you have a thesis statement. Valium is dangerous, and then Valium should be taken off the market. Earlier in the introduction paragraph, the writer had said to treat anxiety, or talked about anxiety disorders, so that's why it says to treat anxiety disorders. Let's do another example. Here's an excellent informative thesis. Genetic engineering subjects us to a few matters such as viruses, allergies, and the possibility of short or long-term side effects. This is a fact. This has been proven. There's research on this. So how do we turn it into an argument? Well, because genetic engineering subjects society to, viruses, allergies, and the possibility of short or long-term effects, altered products should not be on the market for consumers to buy. Notice I take this sentence up here and I put a because. Oops, I always do that, don't I, to you? Because I have a because, I have to say why an altered product should not be on the market for consumers to buy. The person has listed the 3 different things they're going to talk about. Notice this is an argument. Some people are going to argue one side. They should be or they should not be. Notice that these argumentative sentences have should in there. This should not, that should not. That's how you make an argumentative thesis. What should happen? If you're having trouble with argumentative thesis statements, look at your statement and ask why. For example, Valium is dangerous. Well, why? Okay, it causes the crushing withdrawal symptoms. Then ask, well, what should happen because of that? It should be taken off the market. Another problem I saw in the papers were passive voice. There are immense health problems that women risk when taking birth control. Notice how long it takes to get to problems and women, which are the 2 nouns in the sentence that are important. And risk is a very good verb, but it takes forever to get to it. So we want to put women risk immense health problems when taking birth control pills. Notice how strong that is, and notice there's fewer words, and it gets right to the point. We want to use as few words as necessary to get our points across. We want strong verbs like risk instead of women who take birth control could have problems. Could have doesn't give us any action. We want our verbs to be the engines. We want them to be what makes the sentences go. Another one. Oh dear, I did it again. When overdose occurs, this is when Narcan is administered. It can be intrathecal, intravenous, or subcutaneous. I don't know why I had trouble with that first word. Okay, now notice this is. It takes forever to get to Narcan. Now we can put when overdose occurs here, but just say Narcan is administered. We get rid of 3 extra words. It makes the sentence stronger. Look for this is, there are, it is, it seems. Anytime you have a pronoun such as it, this, those, these, chances are you're using passive voice. You're not getting to the point as quickly as you can. This is one type of passive voice. Not going to talk about the other because I don't see it happening and I'll confuse you. Okay, what are we doing this week? Well, we're going to work on critiques. I've given you a critique, and I want you to send on Tuesday, and I don't have this on the website, but I should, send your paper to the Writ Center. I have a link as to how you can do that. Takes you right to where you need to go. The Writ Center will get back to you in 2 or 3 days, and they will do a thorough critique. Make sure you put my email in it so I get a copy. And then I will look over the critique that the Writ Center consultant did and let you know if the consultant did an okay job or not. Sometimes, most of the consultants are really good, but sometimes there's one that I don't like too well. And I want to be sure that you are getting good advice. Next, I want you to upload your paper by Tuesday to the small groups. You're going to read every paper that's uploaded. You only have 5 or 4 in your group, so you'll only be reading 4 papers or 3. I want you to respond to the questions that the writer asks. The writer has been asked when they upload the paper to have questions that they want answered. Then, I want you to add information about the paper that you notice as you read. Don't focus just on editing matters, commas and periods and quotation marks and parentheses and those kind of things. Yeah, you need to comment on those, but make comments about content. Make comments about the content. Is the thesis argumentative? If not, suggest an argumentative thesis. Do the paragraphs support the thesis? Is there research in the paragraphs? Think about that as you critique the papers. Again, if you have any questions this week, please put them and raise your hand. If you have a question of a personal nature, such as your grade or why I evaluated your paper as I did, please contact me by email.